He was once the most powerful and feared king in the world, but one day he was mysteriously killed and reincarnated into another world as Arthur, the son of a loving couple named Alice and Reynolds. At first, Arthur was confused, but he quickly adapted to his new life. Although his new parents adored him, Arthur found his life rather boring until one day he saw his parents use magic for the first time. That moment made him fascinated with this world, and he instantly fell in love with it. As time passed, Arthur learned to crawl, and the first thing he did was secretly study the history of this world. He discovered that the continent he was born on is called Dicathan, which is made up of 3 kingdoms: the Sapien Kingdom, where he lives, the most populous nation inhabited by humans, the Darv Kingdom, a subterranean nation of dwarves, and the Eleanor Kingdom, a nation of elves deep within a forest. Compared to his previous world, this one seemed to still be developing, and the reason was clear: because this world had magic. The ability to control mana is mostly hereditary and only occurs in about 1 out of every 100 people. There are 2 main ways mana is used: augmenting and conjuring. Augmenters use mana to enhance their bodies, granting them incredible strength, defense, and agility. Conjurers, on the other hand, can project and shape mana however they wish. Arthur then recalled the moment his mother used healing magic on his father, which made him think there might be exceptions to the general rules. He continued reading and discovered that the key to using mana lies in the mana core. Most people begin to access their powers between puberty and their late teens by channeling the scattered mana in their bodies into a single point, called the mana core, and learning to control it, one becomes a mage. Arthur also remembered a similar concept from his past life called Ki. It was all about becoming aware of your internal power, learning to control it, and then unleashing it. The center of your Ki was essential for doing all of that. Curious to see if the concept of Ki could be applied to this world's magic, Arthur tried using his understanding of Ki as a way to access mana, since the two seemed very similar in nature. But before he could find out, his mother suddenly picked him up and realized he had pooped. This made Arthur so embarrassed, as he had been so focused on reading that he hadn't even noticed it himself. 2 years passed, and Arthur was now able to walk. His father began trying to teach him how to swing a weapon, which greatly upset his mother when she found out. Afterward, his mother took him to town, Arthur's favorite place, because it was where he could gather all kinds of useful information to better understand this world. Observing the types and quality of weapons helped him judge the nation's technological level, and being around others gave him chances to witness magic firsthand. Arthur felt incredibly grateful to his parents, who always seemed to care for his every need. Even though this life could feel stifling at times, it was far from unpleasant. He began to wonder if this is what families were always supposed to be like. After all, in his past life, he had never experienced anything like it. One day, while watching his father train, Arthur realized that his father was an augmenter. Inspired, he suddenly wanted to try using magic himself. But just as he was getting excited, his mother picked him up and insisted it was time for his nap. Panicked, Arthur pleaded with her to let him read instead. Amused by his cute face, she couldn't resist and gave in. Once she left the room, Arthur focused on trying to form a mana core. He concentrated on gathering the countless fragments of mana in his body into a single point. Meanwhile, outside, his parents were chatting when a sudden explosion came from inside the house. Alarmed, they rushed in, only to be surprised to find that Arthur had awakened his magic. Just then, a piece of wood cracked and fell toward Arthur. Terrified, he thought he was going to die again, but his parents leapt in front of him, shielding him from harm. Realizing they didn't hesitate to protect him, Arthur felt touched and overwhelmed and began to cry as he realized how much they loved him. If you come this far, please consider liking and subscribing for more videos like this. Thank you.